All right, welcome inside the Stanley Cup playoffs. It is game number 5 tonight between the Calgary Flames and Edmonton Oilers. Brendan Parker alongside Peter Loubardias. The morning show is up and running, and you'll expect to hear from some the head coach and then some players here this morning ahead of game number 5, and obviously some work to do here for the Calgary Flames, trailing this series 3-1. But a lot of faith. Heard from Milan Lucic yesterday and talked about kind of the road back. He's been in the other side of that situation, as he explained yesterday with the Boston Bruins
losing to Philadelphia after being up 3-0.
One of a handful of teams who have fallen victim to that, but the road's not quite as big as 3-0. But maybe just a thought tonight as you think about a Game 5 and the situation ahead for the Calgary Flames.
Well, I know, Brendan, it's a big cliche, but this team, one of its greatest strengths and one of the reasons that it lost only 4 in a row in one situation all year long was Darryl is built with the coaching staff an everyday mentality. And now more than ever is when you have to rely on that. You can't get this series back at once, but the only thing you can really control is go out, play your best game. If that's not good enough, then you shake the other hand at the end of the night and say you've been beat by maybe better guys in this series. But I thought they took a step in the right direction. I know right now it's not about moral victories. You need results. But I thought they played much better in terms of how they want to play in Game 4.
Yeah, well said. And let's hear from the head coach. We talked to him briefly yesterday, but ahead of game number 5, here's head coach Darryl Sutter. And man, just coming right now, guys.
Well, you got a guy like Chris Tanev who's, obviously playing hurt, but playing. And we know how much you like him on your bench and you like him on the ice and how important he is to you, but he's probably at some percent less than 100. How do you weigh all that out?
Yeah, I think first of all, taking Tanny out of that, there's probably lots of players I would bet in the series. When when playoffs start, there's either guys that are in or out, but then as playoffs go along, it's IR or out for the year or whatever, right? So I'm sure there's a number of players like that. So in the series on both teams, for sure. But weighing that out with Chris would be, even strength minutes. He was really good the other night. When you look at it, he made his partner a better player. And I said it yesterday with the experience on our back end, or lack of experience on our back end, he's an important player.
In your experience, with different guys over the years, what does it do for a group when you get an important piece like that back?
That's exactly what it is. It just gives you some composure in because the games aren't always where one team rides the momentum the whole game. There's momentum shifts, lots of momentum shifts during the game. So anytime you can have that on the ice, it's important.
Oh, just my phone. Darryl, you guys did a decent job with Edmonton's top line last game. What worked in that game in terms of maybe extending the chances?
I think just our puck management's a little better. I think our ozone time is hanging on to pucks, but it's still the trade-off of that's, as I've said, that's a different set of skill, that player, but there's still a trade-off after that in terms of, are we getting enough and are they getting enough out of that next layer? That's the next part.
Look for on the morning of an elimination game. What do you need to see out of your group just in terms of mindset?
Well, when you're playing every other day, it's you're doing a lot of work in-house with guys, so that's what's important. And our guys don't have any problem with that. We've done it all year. That's very simple. You don't win, 55 games. You think about it, you won 55 games this year, so it's pretty easy to get set for the next one.
You said that the team maybe hasn't finished as much as it could have on scoring chances during this series. What's the key to making sure those pucks go in or generating more offense versus this Edmonton team?
I think there's different layers there. That's a general question, and the general answer would be to say finish. But there's guys that can maybe get around the net more. Maybe there's more pucks around between the hash marks. Maybe there's a little bit more in the rush. Maybe there's a little bit more in the power play. There's lots of ways of breaking that down.
What do you need to see from Matt Tkachuk then along those lines? What are the things that he has to do to get more involved here?
I think just his skill set. You know, use it more to his advantage. I think them guys. I think it's got nothing to do with effort or anything like that. With any of our guys that are you know, haven't been as productive after game one in the series, but you have to give Edmonton credit in that too. Like maybe our guys are doing all they can. Maybe Edmonton's just doing a little bit better right now. I mean, that's kind of been a sideline, right? Nobody's talked about that. It's always been about the negatives. What about the good stuff that's going on?
So what's the balance then, game planning in a do or die game versus earlier on in the series? I mean, I know you want to stick to your identity, but do you change stuff systems wise, or do you approach it differently with your backs up against the wall? Or?
Yeah, there might be some different approaches, but I don't think you're not calling in plays. It's not, or the defense goes off and the offense goes on, or we change innings.
All right, all good?
Okay.
Thank you. We see the broadcasters next.
All right, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the second round. Calgary Flames and Edmonton Oilers. Here's Andrew Mangiapane on the desk. And Andrew, maybe just a thought on the situation here. Obviously, we know there's some work ahead to do for your group, but you know, the approach for Game 5, you've been in an elimination game. Game 7, not here long ago, and Milan talked about using kind of that same mentality. Is that the approach for your group tonight?
Yeah, obviously, I don't think we like the position we're in, but obviously we're not out, and you got to win. You got to win 4 games, right? It's first 1 to 4, so. I think we just got to focus on this one game here, and you know, just focus on one game at a time, and you know, move on from there.
We also talk about playing on home ice. You guys have been a good home ice team all season long in the playoffs, 4-2. You know, maybe the start that you had in Game 1 and Game 2 here in this building, is that kind of a a nice outlook to have in terms of Game 5 tonight?
Yeah, good start is always big, right? And just coming out there and just kind of, you know, playing our game, getting our legs and feet going and hands and everything like that, and just, you know, play our game, right? I feel when we put together a full 60 and we're playing all together, we're a hard team to beat.
Did you feel like there was more elements of that in Game 4? Just, you know, I know obviously it doesn't, you know, finish the way you want it to, but, you know, just the overall type of game and some building blocks there?
Yeah, I think for majority of the game we were playing, you know, our type of hockey, but obviously the start of that game, you know, we weren't really, I guess, ready for it, and you know, we had some hiccups there early on, but after we settled in, we played our game, so we got to carry that momentum kind of going forward into tonight.
Also, you know, stretches where offensive zone time, long stretches in the first period. You feel like as you continue to kind of play in their zone and get some of those opportunities that eventually you start seeing some of those go into, maybe just, again, change momentum, you know, towards your side here? Yeah,
obviously you want to play the whole game kind of in their end, right, and creating chances, and you know, I think we just got to do a better job of, you know, getting traffic in front of the net and, you know, getting maybe a couple of greasy ones to get us going again.
I know Milan, again, I'll reference him because he's been in the other side of this situation, talked about being up 3-0 in a series and then having to, you know, fall to the Philadelphia Flyers back in his Bruins days. But can momentum swing that fast? Can one win really, you know, change the tide of a series, do you think? Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of kind of ups and downs in series, right? And, you know, maybe a lucky bounce goes our way. Maybe the series is, you know, right now 2-2 or something like that, right? So we just gotta, you know, just focus on that one game and take it one game at a time and not look too far ahead or anything like that. Yeah. But just kind of, you know, just grind away and find a way to win tonight. Appreciate the time. Yes. All the best here tonight in Game 5. Thank you. Well, welcome back inside the morning show as we continue to roll along. Good to hear from Andrew Mangiapane as he steps out after morning skate, and some thoughts ahead of game number 5, a crucial one for the Calgary Flames. As we know, it is an elimination game, the second of this 2022 postseason, and Peter Loubardias alongside. Peter, maybe just before we talked a little bit about the mindset of what it has to be. You heard from Andrew Mangiapane, you've heard from Darryl Sutter now, but just in terms of this group now and building blocks, I thought, and we've talked about a game 4. And a lot of good things in that. Obviously, it doesn't end the way you want it to. Are there some steps, though, taken in that game 4 that you can maybe put into place here tonight on home ice?
Well, there absolutely are. I thought they did a much better job in terms of how they dealt with the McDavid line. I thought they made them come through more layers. They, for me, even though they chip in with a couple of points each, I thought they did their best job against him in the series. So that's a good building block. But again, Brendan, as we talked about even the other day going into the series, the best way to defend Connor McDavid is to make him defend you. And what I saw some progress in was some extended offensive zone shifts. Now, Darryl always is going to want shot volume. You have to not only get shot volume, but better shot volume. You have to bear down, and you have to, when you play like the Flames do, what leads to those extended shifts is when you retrieve pucks. So the difference for me between game 3 and game 4 in Edmonton from what they created was too many one and dones. Too many one shot, flip it out it came again. The other thing to watch tonight from a defensive standpoint is transition defense. I still think that there were times even in game 4 where they got trapped in with 3 guys. Now they're coming back sometimes with not only 3, but involving the 4th guy on the rush. They're as dangerous a rush team as you're going to deal with. So you really have to be layered coming back through all 3 zones to give yourself the best opportunity.
Sometimes line changes, sometimes puck management, just at the offensive blue line. All that has to be so sharp as you go through this, without a question. And starts, and I'll say that because I think it's not as simple as this. Obviously, there's a lot of different twists and turns in each game. But, here at home, you've scored, taken 2-0 leads in both of the first 2 home ice games. And then in Edmonton, it's been a complete reversal of that. So, how much has starts? I mean, Edmonton has not lost a game in these playoffs when scoring first. How much does the start and what we've seen here in the building, have to look like for the Calgary Flames?
Well, let's be as frank as we can be. And I think that's what people watching this expect. One team is more set up to chase than the other. And that team is not the Calgary Flames. They're at their best when they impose their will, when they get a lead, when they extend that lead, and when they have the ability to just continue to come at you and make it hard and make your life miserable. So, I think it's even more important for Calgary than Edmonton, even though, as you brought up that stat, they're perfect in these Stanley Cup playoffs when they score first.
Sure. Yeah, and this is kind of what we saw in the first 2 games. So that was the early part of game 1, and then this is in game 2. And Michael Stone scores here to open the scoring, and then it was Brett Ritchie who gets the next one. And part of what the Calgary Flames did early in those hockey games, and of course, I think it left the first game 3-1 after 1, and then in the second game it was 2-1 Calgary after 1, and we all know how both of those games ended up. Plenty of more scoring as that game wore on. Let's depart from scoring a little bit. Defense, because Chris Tanev makes his return in game number 4. You could tell he's banged up for sure, and that's an obvious storyline, but played close to 20 minutes for this group. And Darryl Sutter said it yesterday, you can't underestimate just the effect that he has on that back end. What did you see from Chris Tanev?
Is there a security blanket around here, or any kind of warm, cozy blanket? Listen, he is your most experienced. He, for me, for a long time, has been one of the best defensive defensemen. And so he just absolutely settles everybody down. He makes people better around him. And boy, oh boy, if you're not getting some inspiration from what this guy is giving you, you better look a couple more times.
Well said, Peter. And I know you got some game day work to do. Jason Loubardias is standing by for your coach's interview. So thanks for the time this morning. Appreciate it.
Am I out now?
You're out. We're letting you take it out. But before we do, Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau at the podium. But we appreciate your time as always.
Thanks for having me. I'm out.
Johnny, what's the mood on a morning like this, knowing that you're facing an elimination game tonight? Another game for us. We're super excited to be where we're at today. Have quick skate here today, and we're excited to play back in front of our fans.
What's the key to tonight's game, then, in your guys' game, that maybe you haven't gotten to that you want to get back to playing, Matthew?
I just think that probably better starts, a better first period, set ourselves up for the rest of the game, and we know that our fans are going to bring it tonight. We love playing in front of them, and we've been a great team all year at home, so hopefully we can use that to our advantage.
Matthew, what do you expect out of Jacob Markstrom tonight?
Expect him to be at his very best. I mean, he kept us in that game, made some huge saves in the third and later in the second last game, and gave us a chance to ultimately win that game. And so you can ask for from a goalie. And we have so much belief in him, and he's gonna be at his best tonight, and hopefully we are as well.
Johnny, when you look back at that game one, what do you feel like you guys can translate most from that into tonight?
I think that was kind of a weird game. I mean, I thought, the biggest thing was a good start. I think we came out hard. We took an early lead, just like we did in game two, and we kind of let that slip. So, if we can, try to come out hard again tonight in the first and try to get an early lead and, get a little cushion for Markey back there, I think that'll help us.
Johnny, you guys have talked a lot about believing this can be a special group. Like, do you allow yourself to be motivated by the fact that one loss away from not seeing that through, or do you push that out of your mind? How do you approach it?
I think just one game at a time right now. I really enjoy playing with all these guys in this locker room, and we have a good group in there. It's been fun all year long. So, every guy's, really motivated in there, and, we know where we're at in the series. And, like I said, take one game at a time and have fun playing tonight in front of our fans here and in front of a sold-out crowd and go from there.
Matthew, is this, your identity in rolling four lines and having everybody involved was so good for you guys all year? Is it about getting back to that and continuing that, or is this just simply a bit of a top-heavy series and it's sort of the top lines that are going to be the difference makers?
No, I think that, we at this point in the series, we need everybody, and we've had everybody all year. We have such a deep team, and from Markey all the way out to all however many forwards and however many D, it really is got to be a complete team effort if we're gonna get a win here tonight. So just start with the one and use our home crowd, like I said earlier, to our advantage, and get everybody going early and see what happens.
Can you just take us behind the scenes a little bit? Last game, like when you guys find out Chris is gonna give it a try, whether that's for warm-ups or into the game, and then he's out there for the game, like what that sort of builds in a group and what that does for a group?
Yeah, well, he was, ready to come in, and I thought he did a great job for us, and we were super excited to have him back. And he's such a big part of our team and has been a huge part of our team on and off the ice. So, when you get a guy like that to come in for a big game, that definitely motivates you to be a lot better.
Is that sort of what you expect out of him again tonight? Like, he'll lay it out all on the line?
Yeah, I expect him and everybody else to do that. We kind of have to at this point.
Okay, we're going to wrap there. Thank you.
All right, there is Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau from just after morning skate here this morning. The Calgary Flames avail ahead of game number 5 against the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, we know the situation, trailing 3-1 in this series, but they call it a best of 7 for a reason. So an opportunity tonight to make it a 3-2 and then send it back to Edmonton on Saturday night. You heard both guys talk about that game mentality and laying it all on the line. That's kind of the situation here tonight for the Calgary Flames. And just a quick thought on Chris Tanev there, as both guys touched on it, and his impact, of course, made his return after missing 4 straight games up in Edmonton in game number 4. Skated this morning with his teammates again. No word on the lineup or any potential changes. Of course, Darryl Sutter will leave that to everyone else to speculate, and we wait and see until game time this evening what the official roster report looks like. It is a 7:30 puck drop tonight, game number 5 from the Scotiabank Saddledome, as the Calgary Flames look to get off to the same type of start they did in games 1 and game 2. 2-0 leads in both of those. In fact, a 3-0 lead in game number 1. And we'll see what it all has in store tonight. Edmonton Oilers will take the ice shortly. You'll hear from their team as well coming up this morning. As for us, we'll sign off on the morning show. This has been Flames TV Live. All the coverage here this morning, and we'll lead up to 7:30 tonight, puck drop, game 5 between the Flames and Oilers. Thanks for watching.